What's up, you guys? It's Ryan with Ryan and Crystal's Reviews, and it's Friday night. Happy Friday, everybody. And it is the After the Pull is Gone show. So in tonight's episode, this is episode 2, we're going to talk about the books that I got on Wednesday. Were they any good? Were they great? What's my pick of the week? What's the books you could kind of, if you wanted to, if you haven't gone yet and got your books, you're kind of like, I was kind of on the fence anyways, skip it. Okay? So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with the skip it pile. We're going to start with the man, or what do you want to call it, or maybe want to be, or it was just okay. Maybe that's a better term. So I had about 15 books this week. For me, that's a big week for me. I know some people go out there and they read 30 books a week or whatever. I don't get that much reading in. So the first book that was just kind of so-so, actually, no, I take that back. This was a skip it for me. This was my only pure, straight up skip it. And that is Iron Man number 9. So, again, Iron Man, I don't even think he's in it. There's a flashback with Korvac, and he's there for, in fact, I'll count it. 1, 2, 3. He's in it 3 panels. This is a Korvac book. This is Korvac number 1. Or it could be a Korvac series, I'm not sure. This is an Iron Man number 9. Great Alex Ross cover art. Beautiful. This is an Iron Man. This was a skip it for me. If I wasn't collecting Iron Man, then, and if I would have found that out, I'd be like, that's it, no more. So that's a definite skip it. Next up, with this, which was just kind of for me, is Dynamite Lives number 1. This is the Linsner variant with Evil Red Sonja. Just okay. I'm hoping to get some good stuff out of this book, out of this run, this story. But for me, it was just okay. It's a lot of Ash, which is great, but it's kind of early Ash, and Vampirella shows up, and he's in the he's in S-Mart, and there's a great scene in it when I believe she's kind of his boss, or maybe he's just his shift manager. He tells her to go to the power tools and get a power tool, thinking she's going to go get a chainsaw for his right hand. Instead, she gets a weed whacker, which is pretty funny, but you know, he knocks. We'll show it here. Let's get to it. Trying to get back to it here. Yeah. So you can see there, she gets him a weed whacker instead of his patented chainsaw. So it works out in the end because he's able to kill some deadites with it. But for me, it was just an okay book. It wasn't anything super special where I was like, oh man, what a story, you know. So next up is Vampirella versus Purgatory. This is issue 4. This is another just kind of book for me. It was a very quick read. There wasn't a lot of text in it. There was a nice little part where Vampirella is sitting with one of her victims. I believe she's the one that bit him. I can't remember now. Let me go back to it. I think that was in issue 3 when she does, and he doesn't. It's just kind of this nice moment where he doesn't really want to be a vampire. He doesn't want to kill people, and she's kind of telling him, "Hey, this is what's going to happen." He's like, "What if I choose not to?" And she's like, "Well, you really can't. You can try, but you really can't." So he basically sacrifices himself by sitting out in the sun and letting the sun rise. I mean, other than, you know, the cover art on this is phenomenal. It's Vampirella. She's always going to be drawn really nice, but it was just a meh. And for instance, I need to back up because spoilers. So, especially when we get into the other books towards the pick of the week and stuff, I'm going to talk about those in more detail. But for right now, spoilers. You were warned. So next up is just another kind of so-so book. This was Wonder Woman 773. I mentioned this on Wednesday, where this is a Thor and Odin kind of crossover. It's not the same Thor from Marvel. You can see him there in that second panel there with the helmet. But you know, I don't know. I didn't read the second story in it. I just read the first. Maybe that makes a difference. I've noticed, you know, DC's been doing that now for a while. But you know, Wonder Woman is let's go back here a second. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for here. So Dead Man makes an appearance. Yeah, so she battles Thor, steals his hammer and crushes it, which it's still Mjolnir, but it's not the Mjolnir we're used to seeing in Marvel. And then I think it's Cisco is how you pronounce it. She faces off with him for a little bit, for a couple pages. And I mean, the art on it's nice, don't get me wrong. Dead Man shows up. She's sitting there with Thor, and then so she meets, which I haven't really read a lot of this book, so I don't really know who this guy is. So they kind of spend the night. They spend the night together. They don't kind of spend the night together. They spend the night together, and she gets to go back towards her home, and she come to find out it's kind of burned down. So we'll see where that goes. But for me, it was just kind of an book. And then my last one is, and this kind of hurts to put this on the meh, or the maybe you should skip it, maybe you shouldn't, I don't know. This is Amazing Spider-Man 68. This is the second part of the Chameleon conspiracy. It's just, so far it hasn't really grabbed me yet. It's a lot of Ned Leeds and a lot of Betty Brant, and that's really about it. Lizard makes an appearance. Spider-Man is, again, this is another book where I feel like he doesn't really show up that much. We do get the great kind of setup for Sinister War here at the end, which I am looking forward to that. It just says Sinister War is coming. I think it's a few weeks out. Doc Ock's there with Sandman, so he's kind of recruited him. That was another just kind of, if you wanted to skip it, you could. I don't think you're going to lose out on anything. So next up, this is the top 10 of the week. So these are in order, by the way. Number 10, and I didn't show this book on Wednesday because I didn't have it yet, but I promised y'all I would. This is Ant number 12. I didn't really know much about this story, but I thought it would be interesting to see how would they end a book that was 12 years. The previous book was 12 years ago or 10 years ago, whatever it come out to be. And I just finished reading this book a little bit ago. It's actually a pretty decent book. I mean, it for what story there is that I kind of understand, it does wrap it up. And this is actually going to become a new ongoing series from Eric Larson. I don't know if it's going to reach Savage Dragon numbers, but so I think we're a couple weeks out from the first issue showing up. It's not too bad. Hannah is fighting. The Daredevil shows up. They're fighting together, and then she gets knocked out. She wakes up. It's her dad, and her dad's kind of telling her how they failed and all that. And then she goes to an apartment in New York, meets somebody. That's it. So, other than all that, it wasn't a bad read. I put it above the other ones just because I thought the story was just a little bit better. It barely squeaked into my top 10. Barely beat out Spider-Man. So number 9, and I can't believe I put this book back so far, but this is Justice League Last Ride, number 2. Really like this. I really like this Justice League. You get great interaction with Lobo. You get great interaction between the League. Batman being, what did Flash call him? Bat brooding, I think, or Bat mood. Wonder Woman, he says, Flash says, God, he's even brooding in space. Wonder Woman says, trouble, or is he just he goes, bad mood or bat mood? Yeah, so that's really cool. And then, of course, being there with Lobo. Lobo always kind of he likes to throw his little jabs in from time to time, or every chance he gets. such a great character, and it's awesome that he's with the Justice League. Anytime he's involved with the League, I think it makes the character even better. It makes the League better too for me. So that's my number 9 book, a good book. So my number 8 book, and this was my first read of this, so I'm jumping onto this series. This is Geiger, number 3. Really cool cover here, really nice cover, and I will say that I put this up there because I think the story's going to be good. I didn't really understand, not understand, but I didn't really know a lot about it. I need to go back and read the first 2 to really get a good sense of the character and what he's gone through. But he fights, what does he call him? He's basically a king, a makeshift king. I think he thought he had a name. They just call him King. But he's kind of that bratty one that probably got a lot of stuff when everything went down, and then he just kind of assumed power and bossed people around until people started listening to him. But it's, so far, I like the story. I put it in my top 10 just because I think there's something there, and it's going to be interesting to continue on with that book. My next book is Detective Comics 1037. Now, I did not read the backup stories in this. I just read the main story. And Mr. W, there were some things I didn't like about the book, but for most part, I like it. You know, Huntress is in here. It's more Bruce than it is Batman. They're both kind of charged with the same crime, but yet no one knows that Bruce is Batman. So it's kind of ironic that they're both being held, or well, Batman's not being held, but Bruce is being held, and they're being charged with the same crime. So Mr. W is he tries to kill Bruce, tries to blow up the prison, Gotham PD. Actually, I think he is being held. It looks to me like he's being held in Gotham PD. Maybe he was in Arkham, but I don't think I think they put him in Gotham PD. And Bruce escapes, and so he's going to start fighting Mr. W. There's that last page there, which is really nice. So that's number 7 book. A good read. I'm enjoying Detective Comics. I am. So yeah, I mean it's a good book. I would suggest reading it. I ain't even read the backstories. The backstories might even be better. So next up is Excalibur number 21. This continues to follow the Hellfire Gala storyline, which for me it's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it. Nightcrawler's in this. You got Betsy in this a lot, but you're starting to see some of the political side of it start to take place a little bit, and you know, they're resurrecting mutants, and you know, you're starting to see it. These what do they call them? Sorry, I don't remember. I think it's in this one actually, my next book. But so you start to see some of the world leaders kind of come into play a little bit more, and I think that's kind of where Emma Frost was trying to get it to. Obviously, I think she has her own plans to make mutants more dominant, and I think that's what this is kind of about. You get a great kind of teaser for WWSH, World War She-Hulk, which I'm looking forward to, which starts in Avengers 46. And then they're starting. Let's see. There's a new island involved. I mean, there's a lot. This is a good book. There's a lot going on in this book. That's my number 6 pick. So we're now at the top 5. No, that's actually number 5. Excuse me. That's number 5. So my number 4 pick falls right along with that. That is X-Men 21. This is the Spider-Man villains variant. So this continues on the Hellfire Gala saga, which I believe Excalibur was. Excalibur was technically in line before this one. So this one has a little more of Emma Frost. They choose a new team of X-Men, which is spoiler alert again. Rogue, Sunfire, Wolverine, which is young Wolverine, Sync, and Polaris. So a new X team is chosen. Them right there. And that's who we're going to see continue on in the new X-Men series that's coming out here in a few months. I think this is... I feel like that's supposed to be Patton Oswalt, but I'm not sure. But there is a special cameo in here, I believe, if I can find him. Let's see. Let me see if I can find him. It might have been... maybe he was in Excalibur. Nope, he's right there. Right there. You'll recognize him. Not Cyclops. That's Kevin Feige. So, and I like that he says, "What's your story?" So this is kind of it's a really cool little nod. Emma Frost featured a lot in this book, and so we're gonna see a lot more going on forward. We're getting into the main meat of the storyline. So my top 3 books for this week. This book, I was really surprised at the mature content of this book. I talked about it on Wednesday. This is Cherry Blackbird, #1. I really can't show a lot of this book on here. We'll just put it this way. It's an interesting read. I think the story's there. I'm looking forward to more of it. I just don't know if... I don't know how many issues there are going to be. I don't know if there's going to be 12. So the premise of this is she's a rock star, and she goes and makes a deal with the devil. On her 27th birthday, he comes and takes her to hell. It's just as simple as that. 26th birthday comes around. She knows she's got a year to live. Satan shows up and says, "Hey, these 7 souls escaped from hell, and if you track them down, then I'll let you out of your contract, and you're free." So this is her training, trying to become that, trying to become strong enough and powerful enough to be able to take them down. She can punch walls really hard. She flies, stuff like that. So it was a good read. Like I said, it's an adult book. It's very adult. So keep that in mind if you're buying it. So my #2 book, and I really enjoyed this book, is Heroes Reborn #6. I thought this was really well done. It's actually a longer book, and it's funny because Power Princess, who is, let's face it, she's Wonder Woman, fights Thor, and in Wonder Woman's book, she fights Thor. So I thought that's kind of cool. And then Hyperion is involved, and even the backstory, there's a backstory to it, and even it wasn't too bad. But the main story is really nice. So, she talks about she was involved with Namor at one time. She's taken over. She's taken over the Statue of Liberty area, and there's stone statues of all these heroes, and she's pretty much untouchable at this point. Even Thor can't handle her. She takes on Hercules at one point. So it's actually pretty good. You kind of got the dude Thor look there from him. But it was a good book. It was a good read. I actually read it faster than what I thought, just because it was a longer book, and I zoomed right through it because it was really good. So that's my #2 book for this week. And the last book, and that's my pick of the week. This was an easy pick. The minute this book had me going from the beginning. I had to go back and I went back and reread some of it just because I wanted to make sure I understood what was going on. And that's Bunny Mask #1. This was a phenomenal book. I'm really looking forward to issue 2. Like I said, this book is really hard to find now because everyone realized, not realized, but I think they knew this was going to be a good story. And so it starts out in the past, and I'm going to talk more about this book, so big spoilers for this. So it starts out in the past with a character, a daughter and her dad. Her dad's pretty much lost his mind. He hears voices. He does really weird things. And she is held captive by her dad to help him dig in this cave. So her name's B. Foster. So these 2 officers are coming out to her house. It seems to me like they're truant officers, but I'm not really sure. It doesn't really come out and say that. To check on her, make sure she has all the medicine she needs, she's healthy, etc. Because she's been absent for school for almost 2 weeks. So I feel like they're probably truant officers at this point. So they knock on the door. The dad kills the female truant officer just like that. Boom, stabs her, gone. So the other dude starts freaking out, and he knocks him out. And then you can see there in those panels, he puts him in the car, puts her in the car, drives the car off a cliff into the river. So that's it. She's done. She's done, character. She's out. So he comes to in the cave, and the dad says, "You got to help." It's Snitch's Cave. I think that's what he calls it. Yeah, Snitch's Cave. And he's trying to find his way to the truth of the mountain, is what he tells him. So he says, start digging. So as he starts digging, that's when B. Foster shows up. She's basically right there, and he doesn't even realize it. So she shows up, and they have a conversation, and then it turns into a few weeks later. All right, we're day 3, day 4, day 5. He's starting to get tired. So on day 31, so he'd been in the cave for about a month, he cracks through a wall, and he realizes there's a whole big cave further. There's more cave this way, and he thinks maybe he can get out because he's trying to get out. He can't get out, so he's thinking maybe he can get out. So this time B's she's gone. So he runs through this section, and that's when the dad sees him. Boom, shoots him in the leg. So the dude's down for the count with the leg, and just before he's about to kill him, this shadowy figure right there comes out of nowhere and then takes out the dad. She kills him, and then she says back to Shadow. So she says a few words. So before she goes back, she licks the guy's wound. So he basically blacks out, and he wakes up. He's in the ambulance, and he's saying, he's like, it's Foster. It was Foster. He killed Juliet, and B, I've been in the cave. Oh, there was a woman. She was my leg. Can you save my leg? And the police officer's like, what are you talking about? So he lifts up the blanket, and his leg's perfectly fine. So this bunny mask woman, she has some sort of special abilities. So then it fast forward to present time. He's an officer, and I don't know. Actually, I take that back. I don't know if he's an officer. He's with, I'm going to assume that this is a friend of his, and they're driving by an art gallery, and he just stops because he sees pictures of the bunny masked woman. So he just walks in, he sees all these pictures, and then he realizes that B. Foster is the one that curated and made all these pictures. So then he starts talking to her, saying, basically, then that's when they realize, oh my God, it's you, it's you. She starts kind of freaking out. She gets really flustered about it. She's not really sure what to think. And then there's a flashback or flash forward to two officers at the Foster house. One of them falls into the cave through the floorboard. And so they're looking, they've got, torches. They're going through the cave. They're looking at all this stuff because they didn't believe it was real. And they find bodies in the cave. They find these bodies that are perfectly preserved as if they died minutes ago. And it is the dad and the little girl, B. Foster. So you're like, wait a second here. Wait a second. I thought you said she was at the art gallery. She's the one that curated the art. Exactly. That's where the twist comes in. So looking forward to issue 2. This was an easy pick of the week. It's by Aftershock Comics. It's Bunny Mask #1. Easy pick of the week. Best book. Probably the best book I've read in a while. It had really good twists. I mean, I read right through it, and it just kept me engaged the whole time. And that's what these books should do. So that's it for tonight's episode of After the Pool is Gone. I appreciate everybody watching. And remember, we talked about this in the Snack Crate video. We are giving away since we've reached 100 subscribers, we're giving away a Deadpool taco holder, little taco holder thing, and we'll show that in one of the videos. Crystal will show that in her next video. So what you got to do to get entered is you got to be a subscriber, you got to like the video, and then you got to comment down below, you know, that you want to be, just comment entered, or you want to be entered in the giveaway. And we're going to run videos for the next week, and when the contest is closed, we'll do a drawing, and then we'll notify the winner that they won. So please, we appreciate everyone subscribing. We appreciate all the feedback and the comments. Appreciate all the love, all of it. And we will see you on Sunday for the Sunday's preview show. There will be no Saturday night show, as Crystal and I are going out of town tomorrow. So it's going to be a Sunday preview show, and we'll be looking at the comics that are coming out next week. So we appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great Friday night. We made it through the week. And so have a great weekend. And guys, read those comics.